This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Sharing the love, spreading the light in real time. Friday night love stream.
Very happy to have a guy we instantly resonated with. Unbiased and on the fence. I'm talking about Shane C. Robinson. And his purpose is to rise above the worldviews that are designed to separate us so we can unite as one.
Sometimes you have to sort of take a step back, and I think Unbiased and on the Fence is a really, really good title for your show, because you are in the central point when you're unbiased and on the fence. That's what it means. It doesn't mean you're indecisive. It means you are taking the central point and you're seeing the multiple perspectives.
Unbiased and on the fence.
If you haven't checked Unbiased on the Fence, go and check his channel out. You might like it.
This is Dan Holfeld from Talk is Cheap, and you're listening to Unbiased and on the Fence with Shane Robinson.
If this much sincerity enters your life, come to this much. What I know, I know. What I do not know, I do not know. I don't believe anything, I don't disbelieve anything. I'm willing to look at everything. You will become a sensible human being.
Have you checked out our website?
Visit us on the web at uotf.net. You're listening to The Love Stream.
All around the world in real time.
This is Shane with Unbiased and On the Fence. You're listening to the Friday Night Love Stream.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to the Love Stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence.
Unbiased and on the fence.
And happy Friday or Saturday morning, whichever it is for you. It's the Love Stream. So welcome everybody, welcome in the chat. So, phone lines are open. Phone lines, the phone numbers are on the screen. Let me make sure. Okay, I think, did the description come up right? I don't even know how to check, but the numbers should be in the description. I hope I did it right this time. So you guys can let me know if it's got all the information down there. I'll check on my phone in a second. But so yeah, the phone lines are open. So I don't know about you guys, but meditation time has been incredible. Not even just meditation time, just the connection in general seems to be there. Just stronger, way stronger. The intuition seems to have really amped up. Even the breath. You remember, I've been talking about the conscious breathing for a while and how it's good to just take a few days or a few minutes each day throughout your day to just take a few conscious breaths and to center and really connect with the divine. And I've been using different things, different triggers. If you find yourself getting triggered at all, just use that as like a notification to take a conscious breath, and do not forget the sigh. The sigh is so powerful. Just that sound of just letting go, relieved that it's all taken care of. And just let it go and feel it go away. So in meditation, it was shown that I can extend that notification, that is, from getting triggered. If something triggers you into fear or anger, or, there's plenty of triggers out there, right? So whenever that happens, to get that little notification, to take a conscious breath, to sort of take a step back into the I am presence. And, that really is, if you think of spirit, that's breath. That really is the Holy Spirit, isn't it? It's like you're being indwelt. You're creating space to be indwelt with that divine and allowing yourself to be a conduit or a vessel for that divine Holy Spirit. And that just takes a second to do that, center, realize that I am presence, even if it's a dispute or something with another person, to realize the I am presence in that person. But that even extends, I was seeing how people, whether everybody's got their vices or crutches or whatever, whether it's, certain foods or eating a certain way or cigarettes or smoking, different types of smoking that you might do, drinking, or just whatever your thing is, you know what I mean? Even if it's chocolate cake or whatever it is. So it was shown to me that whenever we have these, we can use these cravings Because really at the core, even, you know, for a lot of us that feel like we're from another place, we're like star seeds from somewhere else, and we get that homesick feeling. It was shown to me that that longing, that yearning deep down inside, to go to the core of that yearning, that longing is source. That's what you're longing for. So it is home that you're longing for, but even home beyond home on another planet, it's available right now is the whole thing within. And it's taking that conscious breath, going within, connecting up. You guys are having a hard time hearing me? I'm up in the red. Let me know if anybody else is having a hard time. But anyway, so I'll try to talk more into the mic. Having that moment of, you know, it was shown to me, you know, it could be, you know, root beer or whatever it is, but that one thing, to take a break from it, to not overindulge, not try to quit everything, but if you're wanting to eat more healthy or do one of these things, to substitute it with conscious breathing, to take a few minutes. So say you're trying to cut down on smoking, maybe every other cigarette or every third cigarette or whatever it is, just take some conscious breaths. Use that craving for whatever it is, chocolate cake or cigarettes or a beer or whatever it is. Take that craving and turn it into satisfying it with the conscious breath, getting back to that deep part that's the I am presence that we all share, that divine, that divinity that runs through all of us. And that's been so, so powerful. And the more I find that I stay there, the more you can actually feel when you come out of that and you get back. It's almost like you're in a pool and you come out, or you get into the pool. I mean, you can feel this huge difference. Even with my thoughts, you know, if I get too much in the ego with my thoughts, I can automatically feel myself start getting disharmonious would be probably, you know, where everything feels like it's super harmonized and in alignment and grounded and flowing and, you know, all of this sort of just being receptive to being present in the moment, of course, and having that connection to your higher self and the divine, and all of that happens in the moment. And the more you're there, the more you're used to it, and the more you can tell when you sort of drift outside of that. So why don't we start this with some Wingmakers? Let me see if I got some queued up here. And then phone lines are open, so feel free to call in. We'll get to move with some Wingmakers. All right, we got Merna on the line. How's it going, Merna? Thanks for calling again.
Hello, Shane. How's it going? How
Pretty-
is everyone?
Hey, it's been going pretty good. How about you? You're in Montana. How's things going up that way?
It is beautiful. It's been so beautiful here. The sky is blue, and we have sunny days. 70 degrees. It's just perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been really nice here, too. It kind of got cold. I think it was in the 50s this morning, but it warmed up to like the 70s. But yeah, it was kind of cold this
Where
morning.
do you live?
I'm in Tulsa,
What
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, right above Texas.
Wow, I thought you were like in California or something. I
No.
didn't know you were in Oklahoma.
No, actually, I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. That's where I was born and raised. And I've lived in Colorado, in Drake, Colorado, which is in between Estes Park and Loveland. I lived there for about 4 months, and then I lived just in the Atlanta metro area for a couple of years. And now I'm down in Tulsa, which I've lived here before, so this is my second time living in Tulsa.
Of all these places that you've lived in, which one has been your favorite so far?
I probably would like Georgia the best if it wasn't for the traffic. It's like got 8 lanes each way, and even in the middle of the night, there's just so many people that, you know, it's just like, where are all these people going? It's like a city full of people like me that are up all night, you know what I mean?
So what is it that you like about Georgia then?
Oh, the weather, the trees, just the feeling of the area and all the trees, the big Georgia pines, and I don't know, it's like just the way it feels, you know. I mean, like down there, I had my own painting company at the time, and I was painting like right at Christmas time, you know. It was like outside, the weather was great, you know, and it was like, wow, this is like, you know, it was Christmas time, you know.
Wow, beautiful. I've been to Georgia. I don't exactly remember where, but one thing that really stood out about Georgia was those trees that look like that you could almost picture them like they're walking. It's this vine that seems to be overtaking everything. A lot of trees. It wraps around trees, and do you know what I'm talking about?
Right.
This strange vine. That vine that just kind of like it's covering. Have you seen that in Georgia?
I think I have. I've seen what you're talking about.
Okay,
I like the way
it must be a particular part.
Right. Yeah, it could be. There's just so many, like there, the difference in here, like I can go from, you know, I can drive 20 miles and it's like constant, you know, either houses or commercial businesses the whole way, you know. But in Georgia, it's like everything was sort of like they just cleared out an area and built there, and then they cleared out another area. So as you go from one little town to the next, it seems to be sort of divided by trees for the most part, at least when you get away from the city, you know, out into the suburban areas, you know. So that's pretty cool.
Sounds
nice. Not so
That
congested.
sounds nice. So yes. So you like more of the town feel, because I live in a little town here too in Montana. It's called Stevensville. I live in the Bitterroot. You know that movie, The River Runs Through It, with Brad Pitt? I live in that area.
Oh, wow.
So we are definitely, the reason I'm talking about this also might help a lot of people who, somebody called me and said that so many people are considering moving to Montana right now and Idaho.
Right.
And some people might be interested in knowing about this area, since there's a lot of shifting happening with people moving to different places right now.
Yeah, that's so funny. My mom always wanted to move to Montana because of, you know, just it was just sort of just land, you know what I mean? Just sort of not populated. And even if you look at the population density maps, that's a pretty good place to be if you don't want it to be congested, you know?
Absolutely. This is the 3rd largest state, and we only have 1 million people.
Right. That's why they do a lot of filming for movies there, isn't it? You don't have all the phone poles and stuff blocking up the scenery, you know?
Yes, and as a matter of fact, there's a big show that a lot of people are into right now. I don't watch it myself, but it's called Yellowstone.
Oh.
Anybody familiar with that? Anybody watches from the audience?
Yeah, I'm
in the
not, but we'll see
Anybody watches?
see if anybody in the chat's familiar with it. It's Yellowstone. It's about the national park.
I think so. I think that's the name of the show, Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're filming that right here in this valley. It's called the Bitterroot Valley,
Mm-hmm.
and their main office is like here in our little town of Stevensville. It's not so little anymore. We have so many people moving here. The locals don't like it a lot, but I do, because that means we're getting more diversity, and yeah, it's just nice. I like people.
Right.
And but then we have the best of both worlds. We have artisans, a lot of retired writers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really, it's like a little gem. I probably shouldn't be giving this away. Yes, we're like a little treasure.
Well, we're a little treasure group
here.
here. We don't have many people here, so it's like this is the kind of place you want to share it, you know?
Yes. These are the good people, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, anyways, the only thing you have to get used to is to the cold, but it's not really that bad. I'm really surprised that we haven't gotten, it seems like it's warming up.
Mm-hmm.
I think the coldest last year was like, I really don't remember, but might have been 5 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
5 degrees, but we've been negative too. But it's usually like a week or two at the most.
Right. See, I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, so the weather was probably a lot similar, just because it's further north. I don't think Missouri's. I think we're a couple of states away there.
Oh, so you grew up in the cold and the snow.
Oh, yeah. So I'm used to it. And I think it seems like the jet stream usually goes over Montana and then swoops down and catches usually Oklahoma and Missouri and then goes back up a lot of the time. So a lot of times we just get it like a day or two later, you know.
How cold does it get there in Oklahoma where you live?
It will get down into, close to zero here too, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's 6 hours south of St. Louis where I grew up. So even though it's that much further south, it still gets pretty cold here. It's not much different than when I grew up. I had no
idea.
A little bit more snow up in St. Louis, but we get it here too, so.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was thinking there was like a tornado area, but
yeah.
I guess I'm off.
No, we got those too.
Tornado?
Yep. We got the tornadoes. We're right beneath Kansas, so yeah, we're in Tornado Alley. Yeah. And the only reason I noticed it. No, I haven't seen any tornadoes up close. I've seen the devastation afterwards, and I've helped with cleanup and things like that over the years, but never saw one up close or anything. I've seen plenty of funnel clouds in the beginnings of them, but and I've been out there looking too, so it's not that I haven't looked for them. But
so
yeah,
is there a lot of light work, a lot of people, awakened people in your area?
I'm kind of in the Bible Belt, so it's more a lot of really good religious people, prayer warriors, intercessors, and but also religious.
So you do not know any other people that are like into the same awakened like you?
Yeah, like there's a few people that actually are on the channel that that come to the channel that live in this area, and a few other people I've ran into that I've given them the channel information, but I didn't meet them through the channel. So yeah, people are waking up, and it's kind of funny because it seems like you'll get to talking to somebody and. People are just sort of hush-hush about it. Nobody just comes right out with stuff. But if you talk to anybody long enough and they feel comfortable with you, especially if you say something like, oh, yeah, I got a YouTube channel and I talk about this and that sort of opens people up. You can kind of get a feel for them by the things you tell them you cover. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, yes, we actually have... this area in this Bitterroot, many spiritual people are called to come here.
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton, we have a store that is a mystical store.
Mm-hmm.
They sell crystals. They sell everything esoteric.
Mm-hmm.
There was actually gatherings, events that they would have where they have local healers. We have tons of healers in this area that do like cranial sacral, holistic kind of medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, for example, I had a lady come here for one of these events at this store. Let me see I hope I can remember the name of it before I go. But she came in, and at this event where you can see different kind of, I would say, gifted people that do cards, people that do all kinds of different modalities.
Mm-hmm.
And this lady in particular brought in a aura photo.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So this machine basically takes a picture of you, and it shows exactly your aura.
Is that the thing you put your hand on it, or the other kind?
Yes.
The one you put,
hand
okay.
on it.
That's the
Exactly.
one I took too. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and I think there's something that takes a picture too. And then it shows what you look as, like the light that you are, your spirit, and what colors are where, your chakras, so it's really awesome to see to actually see this, which is your etheric or your energetic body, and which in this way reads it as colors. As reading your energy field as colors, and then it shows you what's out of balance. It shows you everything actually, and she said that one of the I spoke with her, and I was asking her questions about the report, because she gives you a whole report and it goes over the things you need to work on, and she'll do something right there where you say some affirmations and you have to kind of feel it, and then she'll do another read before she's done, and it'll let you know, now show you the new results after you do these affirmations.
Wow.
Very
That's
cool.
amazing. Yeah, I wish I could have got a second one like that. That's cool.
Yeah, she actually travels to different locations. So if you get enough people interested in your area, if you have a community, this is a person that can come in to the area and she'll do this. So she travels across the United States. I don't know if she travels out of the country, but yeah, it's very, very helpful for the people that like to see and have some visual to connect with.
Yeah, we have a local bookstore that's got one of them in there, and we were wanting to have a get-together there. But they have meetings there, metaphysical, spiritual type meetings. And I was driving by another, like a little shopping center that they were meeting in, and it said, like, Center for Metaphysical something, Spiritual something. And I was like, wow, it's like they're having some kind of gathering there. So there is groups. I'm just not a part of them, and it's kind of funny because I went to this group here, like kind of a couple of years before I sort of awakened, and I kind of felt like the oddball, but I need to go back and visit it because they were right down my alley. I just wasn't ready for it yet. It was just a little too far out there seeming for me, but they, I totally know I could go back and fit right in at this point.
Isn't that amazing? It's just so you are there, you're a light, and you're there, and obviously there's other lights there, so this is really exciting. Very exciting.
So
I also know that when
I'm sorry,
by
there's
you being
a little
in that
bit of
area. A delay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask about your area. Was there anything like quartz or anything in the land, or vortexes or anything in that area? Because that seems to draw a lot of light workers too, is like energy centers, like meridian lines of the earth.
If there wasn't, now there is.
Right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely. I feel like, when people come and visit me, it's almost like they're entering into a bubble of a higher dimension.
Right.
And I noticed that they come here, and when they leave, they feel lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And so this has definitely a healing effect on them. Like I said, if they come from a third dimensional, when they come and enter this space, this area, they are definitely in a higher space.
Mm-hmm.
In general, as a collective, I believe there's enough energy that we can say that there is enough energy to tip it over to a higher energy level. It's definitely felt and recognized.
Mm-hmm.
And it is obvious when you leave it and you return to the city. It's like night and day difference.
That's perfect. That's how it was when we went to Sedona. You could definitely feel, especially if you get off a plane, I can imagine it being a pretty big difference. But, even going across New Mexico and into Arizona and then going into that valley, that's when it seems to happen, because you go down that, I don't know if you've been to Sedona, but from Flagstaff to Sedona, there's this little windy road you take, and it is just so breathtakingly beautiful there.
I need to know the name of that road, because I am so longing to go to Sedona. I feel very called to go there, because this is the closest place that are very well known vortex areas,
Mm-hmm.
portals.
Yeah.
And I really feel like I need to go. I just would love to have that experience and see how compare it to where I live. But I don't know, it would be really nice to even, I see how elevated we are here, and now to even go to a more elevated area, I would love to be in that place.
I know other people are moving there, and it's kind of funny because we're making those connections through the grid and through each other as a collective as well,
Yes. Yes. There are people, like right now, you could say, you're a light, you're a pillar, and there's others in your area, and I know there's a lot here in our area, and then there's another place in Oregon. What is that called? Arkland or okay, it's where there's two practitioners that are hypnosis that live there.
Oh, Portland?
Not Portland. There's a lot in Portland, by the way.
Okay.
There's a lot of light in Portland.
There's Seattle and Seattle, Washington.
Akron.
Oh.
No, it's Akron. No, sorry, I can't think of the word, but it's where Michael and his name. Michael, I forgot his last name, but they are
Garber.
there. Akron, something like that.
Oh, okay. Transformotion,
yes.
Right? That's
yes,
those guys.
Yes.
Yeah, the Transformotion.
They live in that area.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. That area was affected, close to that area, was affected by fires. I don't know if anybody knows what area I'm talking about from the crowd.
There's
a lot of light there, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. They're a very good team of practitioners. I'm actually thinking about having another session soon. I've only had one session with them, and it was the best session that I had. I've had a couple of hypnosis sessions, but I don't know why I cannot get hypnotized. Oh man, I've had about 4 attempts, and I've gotten a glimpse of some past lives, but almost like I feel like they just don't want me to get distracted with that. So I just
is it Ashland?
I'm hoping to have an Ashland. Thank you.
Thank you, Go-Kart Bob. He's
Ashland.
from that area up there, up north.
Thank you so much. I feel like there's a lot of light there. Ask him how is it in Ashland?
Go-Kart Bob, how is it there? Do you know? I know he's up in that area. I don't know how close he is or if he's familiar with it.
Okay. But there's people around that area were affected by the fires this year. So much fire. There's so much fire that happened this year in California, in Oregon, in Washington.
Yeah. There's been fires all over,
So many people. Yes. And so many people displaced from their homes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really
So
is
many
sad.
people.
Yeah, and we're even like, I can tell the sun is a weird color because of the fires. Even though we're halfway across the whole United States, I can still tell that it affects the color of the sky and the haze. And like now, I was just on the way back home, and the sun was just so, the sky was just so hazy, you know, and it's like, you can almost smell the smoke in the air, you know, it's just so faint, and it's so far away.
So true. So true what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Because our sky, even though it was clear on the day yesterday or the day before, I see that exactly what you just said is today. There's a little bit of haze. It's not completely clear, so there's still fires going on. And that we were blessed for some beautiful days because we happened to have gotten rain. Anybody else got some rain?
Yeah, we had a few days of rain. That was really nice. And then that actually brought the cold front in for us. Yeah, it was really hot before that. And then as soon as the cold front came in, we got some rain with it. And then it's been chilly every morning since. But it's nostalgic, you know, It's that back to school feeling. I was born in the Midwest, so that when it gets cold, you know, it always feels like going back to school. But there is something refreshing about it, those cold, crisp mornings when you go out.
Love it. And smell of smoke, you know, somebody starting to burn some wood.
Yep. All of the fireplaces getting lit up. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm looking forward to bonfires.
Yeah.
I love bonfires when they're just gathered around the fire. There's something native about that is still embedded in our hearts, because you kind of get a sense of that, like the closeness, you know, and the heat.
Absolutely.
It's like a reflection of us, and that. And I don't know, just surrounded with that circle is usually that circle. It just symbolizes this. And as we're gathered and set around this fire, it's like unity, you know, like oneness, completeness.
Yeah. I love the circle because of that. It shows the complete cycle, you know.
Yeah, which is what isn't that what we're going through right now?
Yeah. The cycle's swinging around.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just so huge.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't know if anybody else is feeling the energy, but it's building up. It's building up.
Now, have you noticed any difference in your intuition and things like that, Merna?
Very much. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's so amazing my mornings are, I don't know, everybody has now, I know that everybody has a way now that they figured out, at least if you've been in the journey for 7 years, like I'm from the way from 2013. Anybody else out there from 2013? It's been 7 years, so it's like, I feel like we went through that cycle of that 7 year, which was the peeling of the layers of the onions, which that in itself was like so incredible, because the extreme, the releasing of that and the unconditional love that you receive and that sense of relief. So for me, that took about 2 years, 2 to almost 3 years of our gassing of the peeling, you know. Can anybody else relate with anybody else from the 2013 wave or 2012 wave that's listening?
Let's see what people say in the chat, because for me, I sort of, it was 2017 before I really realized I'd been asleep, you know. I mean, it was a long process of waking up, but that's the point, you know. And I'm like that as a human, too. It takes me a while, you know, waking up in the morning, just in regular 3D life, to wake up fully. I'm like kind of on autopilot for like a half hour, so it's kind of par for the course for me, and for my spiritual man, too. Kind of be groggy a little bit.
Well, and there's no right or wrong. Isn't that amazing? There's no right or wrong.
Right, yeah.
It's like, it's just perfect at the time, as your time. You're God, you know? You're in charge. There's no rush.
Yeah. In many ways, I think that's what this time is really about, though, isn't it? It's about sort of realizing that we're all on our own journey and really just allowing other people to live their life and, support them, love them however you can, when they come across your path. But other than that, just, let them enjoy their journey and stop trying to push our will onto them or think we know the better way, because, each individual journey is guided by their own team, and they know best for that person. So once you know that, you can kind of let things go with ease, and actually it's liberating to know that, oh, it's not my responsibility. They've got people looking after them. Great. You know what I mean? I just got to love them. That's easy.
It's amazing. Yes. And it's amazing though, because remember when, I don't know if it's like in the beginning of your journey, especially for mine, there was a huge sense of responsibility to a feeling or this need, like, gotta give you this urgent message. Not sure exactly what it is, but it's urgent. I don't know. There was just a sense of urgency at that time that I felt when I went through my awakening. It was just so much energy. I think that I just, I literally hadn't integrated. It was so much that I just didn't even know. It was just pulling from in so many ways, in so many directions, and it was not clear. It was not clear. So I'm so grateful for all the messages that have come through the messengers. Through these sessions, through people that come on your show, through everybody who brought messages, and when I listened to them, and what I was ready to align with at that time was just perfect. And now I can look back at that time and say, well, that's exactly, it was like you could see it was baby steps.
So have you tried BQH before?
Yes, actually, Ron Amit, that's his name, Ron Amit. I had my BQH with Ron Amit, who is partners with Michael.
Right.
And that was online. And that was actually the best session that I can say I've had. I tell you that it's very important to feel very comfortable with a person who is to trust the person that you're doing the session with. At first, I was so eager and excited about having one done that I kind of rushed into it the first couple of times, and I was not relaxed enough. There was a lot of energy within myself, and there was a lot of expectation. So that did not help. But as I went in there, and also the my throat chakra is a lot of us have issue with this area. And it could take a while, to be able to find the words to express, for that to come out, everything that your soul is trying to say. Sometimes it's hard to find the words. It's hard to find the words sometimes.
Absolutely. So,
but now,
how many did you have then?
Okay, so I had Ron Amit, and my very, very first one, I believe I drove to Oregon, and I don't remember her name. So yeah, she that one, it was just complete darkness, and I don't think that she knew what to do with that at that time. And remember, as they're also been getting better with the system too, with the way they do it. They all have been evolving too. So when somebody just starts or doesn't have a lot of experience, of course, as they do more and more sessions, I believe the more experience they have, the better they'll be at it, right? Like with anything.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I definitely highly, recommend that if you're not an easy person to hypnotize, to go with somebody who has a lot of practice. And then I also had one in the beginning, Rising Phoenix, Aurora, what's her name? Rising Phoenix. I don't know if anybody's familiar with her.
I remember her. She's still around?
Yeah, she is. She does channels, and she does sessions, and I know that she's been doing a lot of with the gatherings and she does classes in her gatherings. I've never been to one of them, but yeah, she's still doing her work.
Good, good. Yeah, I just hadn't seen her in a while. I don't know her, but I'd seen her videos before.
Okay, yeah. And I had my second session with her, and that was online, so that was like a BQH. But I was also that was just at the beginning when she was getting started, so there was a difficulty for me to go under with that one. But I did have insight into a lyran. Any lyrans here? The feline?
I'm sure we do have
people?
some. Yeah, there's a few people from 2013 and 2012 too that ended up chiming in.
Okay.
So you're in the right crowd. We got a little mixture of everything.
Yes. So I had through this session I had visions of a lyran life, with like a purple, almost like a pinkish purple sky. It was very interesting, and I actually could visualize everything that I was seeing and feeling like I was in that person. And it was part cat and part human. So
it's really cool.
now I understand my connection to cats.
Right.
I love cats. I'm a cat person.
You're in the right crowd there. We have a lot of cat and dog people here.
Okay. Yes. So, yep, we're all here. And I've had, in my own personal journey, I've had a very good connection with Yeshua, Jesus. Anybody else has had Jesus as their spirit guide?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, he's been here for a lot of us.
Definitely.
He tried to... Oh, yes. My first, I know I had encounter before this, but one of as a young adult, in 1995, Joshua, I had the most incredible dream I ever had in my life. Was with him. Actually, I don't believe it was a dream. It was lucid. It was actually something that I remembered where I went while I was asleep. And I don't know if I shared it here, but do you want me to share it?
Yeah, let's hear it again.
Okay. Well, the alarm went off, and it was exactly the time that I usually wake up around to go to work. And I got up, and I went into my kitchen. I was living in a little apartment in Southern California, and I went into the living space, into the kitchen, and I opened up under the kitchen sink, where you put your trash can sometimes. A giant fly came out, a bug. And all I can think of was like a giant bug, like a fly. A fly being came out. And he said that something was about to shift, that there was a big event coming up. And he was speaking with like a little bit of sense. Well, he was giving me this advice. And he said that this incident was going to happen. And whatever happened, no matter what happened, he said, you're going to see a gate and run for the gate as fast as you can. And he led me outside of my apartment. First of all, I was very surprised to see the giant bug, the giant fly, but I got a sense that it wasn't going to cause me harm. There was an intuition a sense that I had that he was there to give me this message that he was giving to me. So I was not afraid. I was trusting. And he took me outside, and he was like pointing in one direction towards this gate. And all of a sudden, I was like, of course, it's been a lot of years, 1995 to now, so I don't remember as clear as it was then. But then the next scene that I can recall is that all of a sudden, I was standing outside in my apartment, and mind you, it did look like present time. Because that's one of the questions that I was asked. It looked like present time with the way I was dressed. It was like 1995. All of a sudden, everything shifted. There was something that happened, and instead of standing where I was outside my apartment complex, I'm standing in the middle of a war.
Oh, wow.
And the people that were at war were regular people like you and me.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like enraged, in madness, and they were like killing each other with whatever they could find.
Oh, gosh.
So it was just, I was in the middle of this complete madness. So I turned, I looked to my right where my room was, or my door to my apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and the door wasn't there. It was an opening. It was like opened, and I could see that there were people behind a couch. They had flipped over, looking at what seemed like a line. I was on the other side of the line, on
Mm-hmm.
that side, that these people could see what was going on, but they were in like fear,
Mm-hmm.
and they were hiding. And I felt like I needed to run to in that side where they were at,
Mm.
to get away from the middle of this craziness that I was in. And I ran over to that couch, and all of a sudden I remembered what the guy said, and it was like there wasn't any walls like facing straight to my right.
Mm-hmm.
Once I was on that side, and I could see the gate, and I could see all these people running towards the gate.
Mm-hmm.
They were just, so many people were running towards the gate, and I started running. And next thing I know, my torso, next thing I know, my legs became like the Elastic Man.
Mm-hmm.
You seen that, the Fantastic Four?
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Elastic Man?
Mm-hmm.
My legs became big like his. And my torso was still small. I just got so huge, like a giant almost. And I was running, and even though I started like behind some of these people that were running for the gate, I was ahead of them, and I passed them with
Mm-hmm.
those legs. And after I crossed over the gates closed.
Mm.
And when I was on the other side of this gate, I don't know why I had this weird thought coming to my mind, but anyways, when I was on the other side of this gate, oh my God, it was like another world.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it. It's just like I tell you, like if you were to go, you enter into a space and you feel the difference.
Mm-hmm.
It was like night and day. And oh my God, and I don't know if it was the flight that was waiting for me,
Mm-hmm.
which I think it was. Somebody was waiting for me on the other side of this gate.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was walking down this dirt road, I was looking to my right, and all the flowers, all the life was shimmering, like colorful and luminous,
Mm-hmm.
light just shining. It was like just so beautiful that I could almost, and there was like it was just in perfect harmony.
Mm-hmm.
There was like this perfect little breeze, and everything just seemed almost like to sing. It was just I was just blown away by that. And as I was walking down this dirt road, I saw people, and they were all dressed in white robes,
Mm-hmm.
and they were beautiful, like glowing. And he said, "There's some people I want to introduce you to. I want some people you to meet." And he started introducing me to Michael, Azazel, Uriel. I don't know, but all these old ancient names.
Wow.
And I was like, in that moment, I was just taking everything in. I was realizing who I was meeting. I was getting a sense of everything. I was just feeling it all. It almost like everything was open there.
Wow. That's amazing.
It was so amazing, every single moment. And I was in that moment, as I was experiencing, I was telling myself to not forget any detail of this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The most incredible thing was taking place, and the feeling, everything, I will never forget it. And then they said, somebody else, I believe, or the same person, I don't remember that part, but said, "There's somebody else we want you to meet."
Mm-hmm.
And my heart, like almost like there was telepathy going on, because I kind of knew already who I was going to be, and it was somebody very special. I had a sense, like that there was an intuition that I kind of knew, but I guess I wasn't sure. But anyway, so they start walking me to this little, I go to the right, somewhere to the right, and I'm going through this field, and it's just in this absolute beautiful place, like you couldn't imagine. And then I see this house, what I would consider almost like a Spanish house, because it was made of like a terracotta, like this, like almost like brownish red, and the smell to it had that earthly smell to it, just simple, yet I don't know, it was just so beautiful and simple. I walk in there and there wasn't a lot. It was just like whatever needs you would need, just the bare needs. But yet, I don't know. I got to tell you that I always fantasize about recreating that house, that smell, that feeling. And then I was going into this room, and it was not a small house. It was just a little house, and then I walked into the room, and who was there? There was this simple bed, and who was standing right there. That the moment, I never was able to say this without crying, but I can say this now with how I'm saying it, but I walk in there, and I remember I can see myself how I was, and I had tears. The love that I felt the moment it was irradiant the whole time. The closer you got, it was like you just couldn't help but to feel it. The energy coming from Joshua, from Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was just radiating, and it was so overwhelming that all I could do was cry. And I just remember walking up to him, and I couldn't see his face, but I knew who he was. And I just remember just getting down on my, I don't remember, but I get a sense that I was either came down to his, on my knees, just of overwhelming feeling, and touching my head, just my hand on my heart. And it was just beautiful. And he just got made, if I was down, he made me get up, and he just, with such grace, I can't even, oh my God, it was just amazing. Couldn't help it, but he just raises you up. So without just his mere presence, his light, his energy, just divine. And
Absolutely.
he takes me for a walk. We're walking, and he's talking, and I don't quite remember, but I just remember I was so present right there in that moment with him, and taking this walk, and he took me to the edge of this cliff, an edge of a cliff of a mountain. And on the other side of that cliff was another, what I would say, cliff, but it had like a trail, like a walk, like you're climbing up a mountain, but it was the edge of a cliff, and it just had a little narrow way to get up to the edge of this cliff. And there was a line of people. He was showing me all these souls that were walking there, and they would walk on the edge of this trail up to this high drop of edge of a cliff, and these souls would jump. They would jump the cliff, and then when they would land, their whole bodies would constrict. And it would be like squish, and then you would see their bodies would erect, and almost like the bones, they're going like, it was kind of very, very strange to see. Their bodies were like purple, almost like okay, just like you would imagine somebody that would fall from a high building, like somebody, people that die, they fall.
Right.
And their body ruptures, and the blood turns into like purple or blue.
Right.
Bruise.
Right.
The body looked like it was bruised with blood. But then it would erect back up, and it almost like I got a sense of the pain, excruciating pain. And then the soul would go back into the line and keep doing it, like this repeating, this painful pattern, this painful pattern. And I was asking him what was that about, and he said that it was a place that they were doing that to themselves, that it was not something that God or Jesus or anybody. It was like self-judgment, self-pain, they were literally there by their own will.
Right.
Basically.
Gosh.
And he was just showing me this.
So this was part of that lucid dream still, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure. So what happens next? This is really interesting. And I want to see what conclusions you got out of it too, but we'll finish the dream first.
Yes.
I don't think you definitely didn't tell this one before. This is really cool. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, I think I wanted to share it last time. I said I might share it next time. But that was so there was two scenes. I only showed you this one scene because there was another one to the right, and there was a ring of fire. And what I think now, after my own, just, when you go back and you try to think, what does this mean? I believe is a realm like some people create, like what their own creation of hell, because that's what they believe they deserve. And they'll create, so a part of them could be in this place, but it is now, and another part of them is it could be in a 3D world like here. And you know how they keep coming and repeating the same pain or the thing that causes the pain again. And so, I think that's how it could reflect. So it's happening. The soul, a part of them, like leaves, and it could be in a limbo kind of place like that. And then because that hasn't been healed yet, I don't know. But it just seems like you could see how a lot of souls kept coming back, karma and all that stuff, right? That we created, right here. So I almost feel like what he...
I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say it almost seems like it could be a representation of the spiritual man as well. Like we beat up on ourselves. We're too hard on ourselves when it comes to the spiritual side of things.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're like holding ourselves back rather than some external force holding us back. It's really that reality we're creating for ourselves.
Yes, exactly. That's the reality we create for ourselves. And then it's like, and because, and also the fact that the bodies, the people would fall and then would not die and come back up and do it again. It goes to show you that we don't die. You know what I mean? Yeah,
we get stuck in these cycles of really where we maybe pointed at an angry God that's punishing us for being bad or not amounting to what we were supposed to, or whatever the guilt is that we put there. We put there as if it's an external force, like a religion or a God or a church or our parents or whatever it is, but really it's our choice to take it up and keep carrying it and keep beating ourselves down with it.
Exactly. And then it reflects by, you see other people judging you, but it's really, it's just a reflection of our own judgment of self.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a powerful image.
So, oh my God, very, very powerful. And the Ring of Fire, the other scene, it was basically the same thing too, but it was just a different scenario that has to do with fire. That one was an edge of a cliff. And people say the edge of a cliff too. I know that has some symbolism. Anybody in the crowd is saying anything? Any questions? Any comments?
No, people are just chiming in with you, and no questions though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the very, very deep. That was the most profound dreams I had in my life.
Wow, that was in 95.
1995. See, they were trying to awaken me back in 1995. Did anybody else try to be awakened around that time? Because, oh my God, there's major stuff that happened in 1994 or 1995. I heard a session that was so intense. oh my God, I will have to find that session and share it with you, but it has to do with an alien in a timeline that had an alien invasion in 1994, and that everybody's memories were blocked out, and they had never done that, but they felt they had to do it. That it was a 2-year invasion, almost like War of the Worlds kind of thing.
Wow.
Very intense session.
That's so wild, because I heard, I can't even remember now, it's been so long since I heard it, but there was something where they had to adjust something on the sun, so they just put the whole world asleep for a week or something. I don't know. It's like, man, could they really pull something like that off? And who is they, you know?
Yeah, really. I mean, it's now the way from everything that I experienced with even, seeing the numbers thing, okay, anything is possible. Even manifestation, I have manifested stuff in my life. When I came to this area, I was in a meditation. I just broadcasted that it would be a great idea to have a class of Tai Chi or meditation class in our town.
Yeah.
And guess what? Next thing I know, and it was shown to me. I would never had seen that article. The information was shown to me. Hey, here it is. Somebody teaching Tai Chi meditation for free in our public library.
That's so funny that
blew me away.
Yeah, I've been hearing more people seem to be manifesting things that they, just enough that they wonder, nothing for sure, but it's like, man, I was wanting that, and whether it's a health food store or restaurant or something in their area, and you see they're starting to manifest things. Like, did I do that? Makes you wonder, huh?
Oh yeah. So the people from 2012 and 2013, I know we've been just through a 7-year cycle, and I just want, I don't know if anybody else is now at this point where I am at in my journey, that first of all, I've been very fortunate to have been able to have given the time in these 7 years to meditate and to anchor light and to heal myself every day. So the fact that I was being put in a position where I could do that allowed me to have such an amazing, beautiful spiritual journey. But it's like a journey of self, more. We could call it spiritual, but because we are spirit. But it's been a journey of going from not loving myself to loving myself, and to embracing myself, accepting myself. And so it's like it's been such a personal journey, actually, and sharing it with you guys. I feel like I haven't been alone, because we all have come on and shared our challenges and our things that we have been experiencing, our aches and pains on our bodies, our challenges. As we've been going through this journey, I've just, now I'm at the point where I've been listening a lot to, sometimes in my meditation, I'll listen to the Circle of Life, that song, The Circle of Life. And man, I just go through the times. I visualize my life, everything that I got to experience in this avatar. Everything. I mean, the smells, the taste, the pain, the love, the joy, the fun, the adventure, just everything, like a culmination of everything. And in its simplest way, too. It's not like I've had, like I'm somebody that's famous, that I'm just a person, but I've had an extraordinary experience, lifetime. I'm in the point of just honoring myself, especially the times that I was unconscious, because that was raw. That was raw. Hey, I did all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just and just loving myself and then recognizing too my high points and the times that I feel good about, and then the things I feel embarrassed about too, and just laughing at those.
Absolutely. That's so funny because just when you said that, I was thinking of, and this has been happening more and more, where I get these little synchronicities. They're like really just in my mind. I can't really point them out, but you were saying something. Just like earlier, I was thinking about the little download I got about the breathing, and the song starts on the radio, and it's talking about breathing over and over again. And I had just read Dominic's chat where he says, I've had a lot of difficulty with forgiveness. And that sort of lined up with what I was thinking about what you were saying, how you just kind of, you'll be embarrassed about things you've done. And that's what I'll do usually with forgiveness, is realize that I've done, the stupidest things that somebody can do to me, I've done to other people in one way or another, maybe unintentionally, maybe, it's typically stuff that smaller things that usually get me rather than the big things. So it might be a little bit more difficult, but we've all done things that, we regret, or that we've learned something from and have learned not to do that anymore. But that's the things I look to when it comes to trying to forgive someone else. Do you have any things that you use, Merna, to help aid you in forgiveness?
Let's see. I part of the purification ritual I do every morning. It involves forgiveness first.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, because we are perfect. So that is like ingrained of us. Okay. So whenever we say something wrong or we do something wrong, we judge ourselves so harshly. Especially when you're such a light, because you know your true self, and you're like, but sometimes we just want to react. Okay,
right.
This is being human.
Yeah.
This is part of the game. This is part of the thing. So we're like children.
Yeah.
Children, because here in this human life, it's like, children do things sometimes, and they can get themselves hurt, right?
Right. But they don't realize it. That's the main thing, right? They don't realize the danger they're in when they do something really stupid. And whenever we do something stupid, we don't realize how stupid it is, or we wouldn't be doing it. So it really, I'll go back to the words of Jesus, because I think they really apply for forgiveness or really anything, and that's, forgive them, for they know not what they do. I mean, really, if they were awake and they were really aware and they really saw what they were doing, would they do it? I don't think they would. I think it's a blindness or a sleepwalker effect, if you will. They're just not quite awake yet, Not to say they're an NPC and there's not a person in there. They're just asleep at the wheel at the moment,
Yes. And listen, and think about this. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Mm-hmm.
You don't become a master overnight. So even when you awake, I tell you this, I've been on this journey for 7 years, and I still make mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
Quotation, mistakes, okay?
Yeah.
That I judge myself. Like I said, I put myself out there. I'll go to the local bar, right? And just to put myself out there, I said, okay, Merna, you're going to shine your light. You're going to radiate that light, right? I'm going to get myself right in the trenches, right? No, and I love my people in town, by the way. Everybody's very nice and cordial, and so I'm very fortunate. But, yeah, if people are drinking and stuff, but I prepare myself. I said, I'm going to, go there, and I'm going to, so I go with it I don't know where I was going with this. I go there with the intention of being the best I can possibly be, right? But then when I'm there in the moment, somebody might come up to me and say something, and I might have not had the best response or the best answer, the best approach.
Right.
I might have not, so I didn't have quite the right words You know, and then afterwards I'll think about it and I say, well, you know, with thought now and thinking back, I could have, you know, said better or done better, or you know what I mean? I could have been more thoughtful, or I forgot to, you know, I didn't take enough time with so-and-so, whatever it is. Everybody has their own things that they feel that they're still being challenged with. So the next day, sometimes I feel all that pressure, you know, I'm like, oh, I'm carrying, and I'll come back and I feel their pain. Sometimes the people will tell me some of the stuff they're going through, and I don't even realize it. But, you know, a lot of times I notice in the morning, I feel that pressure in my heart. And and I feel some heaviness that it's not just my own, too. It, I know is I feel a little bit more of that, of the sense of the pain and stuff. So in the morning, the first thing I'll do is first I'll go and I listen to my song that takes me to my heart, and I try to open it up, and I try to let whatever is in there that is that I'm feeling that pressure. And I might not be quite sure exactly what it is, but I tell you, in no time it'll start surfacing, and it just comes to the surface. If there's anything, you feel it. You'll know it. You'll feel a little bit heavier. You'll feel like you're some kind of pressure, something you're carrying. And just in that moment, it'll start coming to the surface. Like I'll start thinking about, oh, this is what I'm thinking about, you know, so-and-so, I didn't say something right, or whatever it is, and whatever anybody could be going through. And then at that moment, I just get, and then I start forgiving myself. So I start reminding myself and say, okay, you know, almost like being my best friend. My best friend. And I like, how would you, like, if your son came to you and was like, oh, you know, Mom, Dad, you know, I'm feeling down, what would you do to somebody you'd love? You try to make them feel better, right? You try to be supportive, you try to listen, and you try to make them see from your perspective that they are precious and you would love them no matter what they do. No matter what, they just almost can't do no wrong, right? Because you see them as they're growing, right? Absolutely. And they're learning, because you were there too one day. We all had to go through it. So I do that to myself, and sometimes it's Mother Mary. You know, I'll listen to Ave Maria, and it's her. She's the one when I need it the most. She's the one, because I didn't have a mother to nurture me. So I call for her, and she's been able to feel that for me. And now it's being reflected in my mother now too. You know, she was the hardest character in my life, the one that taught me the biggest lessons. Yeah, she. That's the part about forgiveness. You know, that the way I can say this is the biggest thing about this amazing journey that I appreciate the most, is to see the person that I thought that was the worst person in my life, who was my mother, to now perceive it and see it from this point of view, that I see her as my greatest teacher. And when I cross over and she's on the other side, she's going to be right there with her arms open and saying, honey, I'm sorry, I played that role way too good. I'm sorry I had to play that hard role, and I made you go through that pain, and all I'm going to receive is love from her.
Yeah.
And I know that without a doubt.
Yeah, me too.
Without a doubt.
You know, it really makes
Oh
sense.
my God.
If you really think about it, Merna, because like one day I thought about this, and you know, early on, you know, and I thought, how ridiculous is it that they think that this is all a play and people are playing different parts and doing all these lifetimes over and over again? And then I thought, as a child, I'm like, gosh, that's all you do as a little kid when you're playing around. You know, play cops and robbers, or play house or doctor or whatever it is, you know, and you're constantly putting on these different roles and playing these different parts, and even playing the bad guy sometimes, you know, you're going to be the guy breaking in the house, and, you know, whatever it is. We do all sorts of things as a kid, you know, because we were bored, or play school or whatever it is, but we spend our life doing that. And then for entertainment, as we grow up, we get our jobs, but for entertainment, we watch people pretend on TV, and so our whole life's about that. And It's like, how could we not realize this whole thing was an orchestrated play to begin with? Because it's like so many signs. And when you look at everything playing out right now, you're like, is this guy going to be good, or is he going to be bad? And it's like, just like a good movie towards the end, when, you know, a whodunit movie, or, the hero movie, is this guy going to be able to pull it off, or whatever it is. It just, the intensity is there with, I don't know, it's just a good time to grab the popcorn and observe and not let anything pull your vibes down at this point, because the momentum is there and you can feel it and you can tap into it. Definitely.
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. And now we all get to become the hero.
Yeah.
And the heroines of self.
Yeah.
Of self. We're realizing we're the main character.
Yeah.
In our stories.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly, so I'm like, okay, it's been 7 years, right? And here's where I am, where I'm loving myself now. This is the way I should have felt in the perfect world from the moment I was born, right?
Yeah.
Had I had the perfect environment. But yet I get to shed all this.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's the butterfly.
Right.
I'm blooming. I mean, and it's just going to get better from here, guys.
Yeah.
It's just going to get better. And once you, find that inner self, true self, inner peace, inner acceptance, inner joy, God, you don't need anything else. But let's play while we're here, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. Let's tell everybody, come on, people, let's get on with it. Let's create a lot of abundance and plant enough fruit and trees that nobody should ever go hungry in this world. And let's all rejoice and let's all celebrate and let's embrace each other's differences, because everyone is so beautiful and perfect the way they are.
Yeah.
That's the way you are.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start feeling that with ourselves and reflecting that to others and showing it to our kids so they can feel the same. Younger.
Right.
The sooner the better.
Oh gosh, they are so much more awake than I was. The younger generation now.
Oh my God.
It's amazing.
It's so exciting.
It really is. It's so amazing.
Exciting.
There is so much magical, exciting stuff to look at right now, but they send all these distractions at you, and it's like, nah, don't pay attention to that. There's so much better stuff to look at, and that stuff doesn't even really matter. It's not even real. It's just to try to pull out, the fear and to distract. But that inner peace is there. We don't have to wait. You can go right in right now and tap into that Holy Spirit and do just like Jesus tried to teach us to do. Find your sovereignty.
Yes.
That I am presence.
Yes. And that's what he's trying to say. You're doing this to yourselves.
Yeah.
You are loved.
Yeah.
And you are loved.
Mm-hmm.
You are loved. And you are loved.
Yeah.
You are loved. And if you think nobody loves you here, okay, if some people might say, nobody loves me, I'm alone, you are not alone, and you are loved. There's so many. Even the people that don't show you love right now, they love you.
Mm-hmm.
And they just don't realize it. That's all. Or they don't know how to show it because they're dealing with their own stuff. Everybody's dealing with stuff. We're all trying to clear our karmas, trying to heal our families. Oh my God, through my transformation, I just had the most incredible experience with my mother. Every time I talk to her, I'm amazed at her own growth.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally, I'm seeing my family being healed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like almost like, is this for real? Is this healing of self being reflected now in my family?
Right.
It's just incredible. It's incredible.
It really is.
There's still more work to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's more work to do. But you get to a certain point, and the more you stay firm in that place, and you know your place now, there is no turning back. There's no turning back. And you just keep getting more and more beautiful by the day, by the day, by the moment.
That's funny because it's like, you are not alone, Sherry saying, but I say anyone that hears my voice right now, you are loved more than you can even imagine, more than you're capable of understanding in this reality. You are loved.
I know. Yes, and it seems like when you're in the dark, in the abyss, and I've been there before, I've been there, you just surrender. Just surrender and just come into yourself, find that quiet place, and just surrender. Get on your knees. You're not kneeling to anybody. You're just, it's just a symbol of surrendering. And just pour it out. Just bring it out. Bring it up to the surface and look at it and know that it's trying to show you something, and never stop looking for that, for that. First, find the answers. Try to find the answers from within, or if you can't yet from within, look outside. QHHT and some of these sessions, you will find answers there, or just ask, pray for these answers to come to you. Pray for you're in complete support. Everything, the universe is right now. Everything is here to support you right now too. And it's not too late. Everything can change in an instant. Everything.
Yeah.
Look at Eckhart Tolle. His life changed overnight, right?
Yeah.
That was the initiation. All you got to do is just once. You just got to say, I'm done. I'm tired with this, and that's the beginning of it. That's the initiation. And
I
then
think
it's
some
the
people
commitment to that.
Yeah, I think some people hear surrender and they feel like, hey, I'm opening myself up or something. But really, it's more about letting go of baggage that's weighing you down. It's a liberation is what we're talking about. Not a giving, not a waving a white flag and giving up. It's not like that. It's like, it's like stop fighting the current. It's like you're in the, you could be going with the flow of the river, but instead you're fighting against it and you're just wearing yourself out instead of just going with the flow. So it's more of a going with the flow, letting go, and just being in that vortex like Abraham Hicks talks about. That's really what we're talking about. It's staying in that vortex of creation where all of that energy is flowing. Things happen naturally and easily. And so, yeah, it's there.
Thank you so much. I love what you just said about going against the current, because that's exactly what it's like. And you're struggling the whole time.
Right, you're just struggling, but still going the other way. You're just, you're affecting your experience of it. You could be enjoying, the current.
Float. Put your arms up and your leg and take a deep breath and just float and let it roll.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my God! Thank you so much. I love that analogy. Thank you. That's exactly what I meant. Well, Shane, it's been such a pleasure talking to you. I don't know how long we've been talking, but I feel like it's been a timeless space.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, and please call back anytime you want. I'd love to hear updates from you, and I love having these conversations where you can tell our higher selves are coming through and saying what needs to be said for people that need to hear what they need to hear, and the momentum's there. And that's kind of what we're talking about in daily life, is tapping into what we've been tapping into in this conversation, being those conduits of that I am presence.
Exactly. And, there's a lot of stuff going on. Honestly, I didn't even see the debate. Even when I hear the little, I know if anybody else hears those little commercials that have to do political, it's like the frequency changes right away and I mute it. I'm like, Anybody else get that feeling?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I didn't even know about it until the next day. I'm like, oh, there was a debate. I'm glad I didn't know, because I might have been tempted to watch just for whatever. But, I didn't hear about it till the next day. So I don't really follow that stuff. And then I wake up today hearing that the president, has it now, and I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So, I guess we get to figure out if that hydroxychloroquine works, right? So.
I mean, it could be all night. He may be, then he's saying, oh, just say you're sick because you did I didn't hear the speech, but apparently it was not graceful. So they may say, it's probably not a good idea for you to go back on stage. So just say you're sick.
Maybe
I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care either.
Oh my God, he's not in my, there's a circle. I learned about this about my circle, right? And in that circle, there's the person that closest to you, like in the center. That's as close as it gets to you in your reality, because that's the one that really, your present life is the one that matters.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't even see Trump anywhere. He's not even in my sphere. So what I'm saying is just keep it close.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your world close. You know, like, you know who's the most important people in your life, or who should be, and
Right.
if they're not, get them in there.
Yeah.
Right? The
Yep.
ones that you know you got to heal the karma with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's those people that's
Because they
actually
don't
in your
have to-
sphere of influence, those people you can actually touch that's in your day-to-day life. That's where it matters.
That's
you know?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the ones that matter, but there's the ones that are trying to heal their karma.
Mm-hmm.
Send that letter that just so if you, that's a good way of releasing this too. You don't have to, like, if there's a way, if you have the courage and you need to write a letter to somebody, or you need to bring something to a close, this is a good time. You know, Christmas is coming. A lot of souls are leaving the earth. You never know. Tomorrow's not. There's no tomorrow. It's only today. So if you feel called in your heart to clear something up, to tell somebody how much you love them if you need to say I'm sorry, do it. Because that's love. That's forgiveness. But if you can't do that, forgive them within your own space. You can do that and never have to call anybody. But as long as you find peace within, because some people, you know, you just can't call, right? Or send them a letter, right?
Yeah, but it even helps to, you know, do like visualize yourself going to the person in meditation and just, you know, apologize. And even if you're going to go meet with the person, it sometimes helps to come up with something that's fair if it's something that, you know, a dispute you're trying to solve, and to actually meet with them in a loving way and come up with a non-selfish solution and then go meet with the person. Or, you know, if you can, and if you can't, just leave it at that and let that be your way of letting go. That's great advice, yeah.
Oh, I love what you just said about visualizing your meditation. That's exactly what I do when I go meditate, and you need to. I literally see myself like either embracing that person or whatever I imagine, and hope that it would have turned out. For example, right? In your mind and in your heart, in your own space. If you can't do it in person, when you said earlier about the meditation, that's a good way to visualize it, to visualize that outcome that you're needing to feel inside of you. Or the other way that you said.
That helps with the energy between you and that person too. So whether you end up meeting them or not, it still helps with kind of clearing the air, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is what it's about, so you can move on to lighter and happier things and create the best self. This is where we're at now. This is the next 7 years. Now I'm trying to piece all this together and everything that I've learned and how lighter I feel, and mold myself not mold myself, but align myself with my higher self, basically.
Right.
Imagine all these higher selves walking among us now. I mean, it's like, whoa, man. People are amazing, and I am so looking forward to the creations of how people will create themselves, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's an exciting time.
Yes, it's going to be amazing. Just beautiful people around us, and the old things are falling away. So just let go of those things that no longer serve you and find the better ways. Find the answers within, or go to other people that have found the answers and see if what they say resonates with you, and that could be a foundation where you can take off from. And there's so much need. You know, we're going to be coming into, I don't know. I really don't know. But there's so many things that people are saying that I do feel very strong and energy right now. These next months are going to be very defining time.
Absolutely. Exciting. And we get to be here together and experience it together, you know?
Yeah, and talk about it and share. And so anyways, thank you so much, Shane. This has been such a great time speaking with you and whoever else is listening.
Likewise. Yeah, it's been a very uplifting conversation. Thanks so much for calling in, Merna.
All right, Shane. Take care, and and good night to everyone.
Okay. Night-night. Lots of love to you.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Gonna go back 415 area code. You're live. Who am I talking to?
This is Meta, aka Propagate This Light.
Hey,
Good.
what's up, man? How's it going?
Oh man, it's gone, but it's still here. You know, it's existing in both dimensions. I'm just trying to understand, you know, quantum effects, Mandela effects. How you been doing?
Oh, pretty good, man. You notice anything new? Any new Mandela effects?
No, I haven't noticed anything new yet. But the last person that was on mentioned something about an invasion. Well, I don't think that was a hyperbole. You know, I have a little bit of experience. I feel like I was in another dimension in reference to that. I guess it was a vision that she had. But when I experienced it, it felt like I was actually there. She said it was 1985. I didn't know the year, but yeah, I would kind of concur with that. You know, but I don't know if it was because of me liking sci-fi movies, but when I was there, it felt real. You know, it felt like it wasn't influenced by anything else besides it being there for real. If that sounds logical.
Right. I don't know. Anything's possible these days, I feel like we can tap into stuff, you know. So even if, you know, that was a probable outcome at some point, maybe it changed, you know. I feel like things are always shifting around and we can pick up on some things. That's why I think sometimes people will pick up on something and maybe it doesn't pan out or it's not as accurate later on and they're like, oh, well, that person was, you know, maybe picking up on a different timeline, not so much inaccurate, you know, maybe things have changed.
Right. And it's kind of hard to tell, you know, what's actually going on because, you know, with the Mandela effect, you know, there's all these theories, and then you talk about prison planet, you know, and then some people even said that, you know, what if we were in a simulation and what if it had something to do with the aliens, you know, I quote the aliens or whatever, and you just don't know. And then we're at the same time, we're saying all these things can possibly exist. And I guess all these things do exist, and we're maybe, like you said, tapping into some of these frequencies every now and again, because when we sleep, we, you know, my opinion, when we sleep, and this is in reference to my out-of-body experiences, when we sleep, our body is resting, but, you know, we don't need to actually be there. If we're calling this our avatar, we don't actually need to be in our body while we're sleeping. Sometimes we're somewhere else.
Right. Yeah, I think we leave every night and do stuff. We just don't remember, you know. Right.
And I think that the confusing thing for some people is that, okay, well, how am I aware? Okay, so some people have out-of-body experiences and they're aware of both situations, which will be the out-of-body state and actually laying in bed. So it's like, well, how am I aware of both reflections, so to speak, at the same time? Man, I'm still trying to understand, you know, the power that we have within us, you know, the powers that be, you know, within us. I'm still trying to understand it all, but I guess that we can see 365 degrees. I mean, at least I did when I was out of body once. I was able to see all around me. So, and I was also able to, and be aware of myself laying in the bed while I'm somewhere else at the same time. It's just because we're connected to our body. I feel. You know, from what I heard from, I forgot his name, William Bowman. Yeah, I think he was saying that there's different parts of us spiritually that exist. I can't remember exactly how he broke it down, but he broke down like 3 spiritual bodies that exist. Have you heard of that?
Right, yeah. Now, you're going to get Sherry calling in because that's our guy, William Beelman. Where I typically, I think Tom Campbell was the other guy I typically followed a little bit more because he had it more of a game thing. But yeah, I think there's like a spiritual body, of course, our physical body, and then I think there's a pain body, a mental body, and astral body, all these sorts of, I'm not sure about this. This is just what I've heard, so I haven't experienced it for myself to know, you know, one from the other. But I have been out of body before, which was pretty cool. It was... Actually, it was pretty frightening the first time because, you know, I was buzzing and I didn't realize what was going on, but I did subsequent to that, I figured out what it was. And it's like once you realize what it is and you try to do it again, it's so hard to do it again, you know. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I wish I could master it. The person I would look into, besides William Buellman, is Albert Taylor. I had him on, but he's got that book, Soul Traveler, maybe. He's been on coast to coast. But if you check out his stuff, his book, Soul Traveler, is really him journaling his out-of-body experiences because he didn't know what was going on. So really awesome stuff. Yeah.
Man, Albert Taylor, man, that's one of the finest right there. I'm familiar with him. I think I probably heard. I think that, yeah. I even went. I think, yeah. I was about to say. I think I even went to look for his YouTube page. I think he has a YouTube channel. I'm not sure now. It's been a while.
It seems like when I looked him up,
Taylor,
I could just find him on other people's stuff, like on Coast to Coast or on other channels and stuff like that. I couldn't really find anything. I don't know that he's on there, but that kind of changed, or maybe he's not very active. I can't really remember.
And that's kind of cool because I personally don't know of a lot of any Afro American people talking about out of body like he does, you know.
Yeah, the funny thing is that research shows that it actually probably happens more to African American because of the melanin in the skin or something helps with out of bodies more. Because Sherry was actually telling me because her daughter's boyfriend was black, and it would scare the crap out of him, but he'd have like a lot of out-of-body experiences. So it might be more common than we realize. But like Albert Taylor talks, you know, when you got parents that's like, oh, well, that's some kind of demonic activity, or, you know, they're kind of putting something scary on it, then you probably don't want to talk about it or focus on it or experience it or explore it, you know, because you think it's a bad thing. So there's no telling when it comes along with, well, that's this or that's that. And, you know, it's kind of fear-based that it might kind of steer you away from exploration. But it's you know, if you can get past that, the gatekeepers, the scariness of it, it's supposed to be like this wonderful time of exploration out of body, you know?
Exactly. It's just like the word occult. When I got past the scariness of that, I realized exactly what it means. You know, it means you know, it doesn't mean scary.
Yeah.
It's hidden. Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely cool. You had him on your you did a broadcast with him. Probably how long ago was that? Because probably I heard you.
It was late last year because we were supposed to do something in January. I'm definitely going to have him back on. We just haven't got around to having him on. But yeah, he was working on some other stuff that I thought would be really cool to have him on to talk about besides the out-of-body stuff. But yeah, he's a really cool guy and a wealth of information. Actually, I turned him on to the Mandela effect the last time I talked to him. I sent him the book, and I was kind of curious what he'd come up with. You know what I mean? Because he's definitely open to that sort of thing. You know.
So yeah, I heard you and the I know it's a little bit off subject, but it's still under the same umbrella. The part of the conversation you and the last caller was having was in regards to different lifetimes. You know, how you come back and you're a different person. I'm really trying to understand that. I mean, that sounds good. You know, right now, do I really want to come back? I don't know what decision I will make at that time, or where time doesn't exist. I will be making a decision. I don't know why. I don't even know why some will say that I made the decision, or we made a decision to come here, you know. So I don't know about that. I don't even know how a person would even know that. But everybody has their own personal experiences. But me personally, I don't know. So, but what I'm saying is, how do we know that? Well, my first question is, how do we know that when we leave from our reality and we go to heaven or whatever, or we cross over, how do we know that we're actually reliving our lives as other people? Is it because there's been sessions, regressions, and people were saying that there were other people? Is that?
I believe that's probably, and I actually had another guest on that, if she can help me, what was his name? Leininger. his son had, at like 4 years old, he was in a bunch of different movies and specials and documentaries about remembering dying in World War II in this plane and how the plane went down. And then he went and met some of the pilots that were still alive, but really old people, and his own sister. And, you know, he's like 4 years old or whatever, but it's one of the best documented cases of someone that's really young remembering a previous life with such detail that they're actually able to track down these people that they remember, even family and stuff. So I've heard these stories. That's probably the best case I know of. But yeah, not only with regressions, but with little kids that know things that there's just absolutely no way this kid wouldn't have known half the stuff, like little parts in the airplane. He knew the name of them and things that just aren't on cartoons or anything that a kid would have heard it from, you know. So I think there's pretty good evidence like that. My biggest holdup for me back in the day was because I didn't feel like the Bible agreed with the whole idea of reincarnation or the idea that somebody might live multiple lives. But, you know, it's not, because it's not taught in church. But when you get to reading the Bible, there's a few instances that stand out that sound like it could be supportive of this idea of like living a life and coming back and putting on a new incarnation, a new flesh, you know what I mean? But you're the same person on the inside. And I think that was the case of when Jesus was talking about John the Baptist coming in the spirit and truth of Elijah, or however he said it, you know, because the prophecy said that before Jesus would come, Elijah would come first or something. And he did. They didn't recognize it was John the Baptist. They cut his head off. So this was Jesus saying that. And it sounds like he's talking about reincarnation, you know. And then there was another time when his disciples said, why was this man born blind? Was it the sins of his parents or his own sin? But if he was born that way, then it would have had to be sin from a previous life, that he was stricken in this life with blindness. You know what I mean? So there's a few little things that kind of hint that maybe it wasn't so weird to think of it in terms of, you know, reincarnation, that we live over and over again. And maybe it was sort of just against doctrine. I think one person pointed out that they didn't want the slaves to know back in the Roman Empire that, you know, if they killed themselves, they didn't have to be a slave anymore. So I guess their quality of life was so bad that if they knew that, they might just take their own life, you know. That's the rumor anyway.
Okay, yeah, I'm not against that, against it or anything like that, because I actually had a personal experience. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, I'll make this short and sweet, but just to see what you think about it. This girl I was dating at the time, we were just taking a ride out and about, and I just kept telling her to drive, and we didn't know where we were going. We were just driving, just randomly just driving, just enjoying the night, you know, driving, you know, going about the town, taking a ride, taking a stroll. So I just kept saying, you know, keep driving. So anyway, long story short, we ended up crossing a bridge, and then so now we're in a whole different area where we don't usually go. And so I was like, she was just like wondering where we're going. I was like, okay, keep driving. And I was like, okay, now exit right here. And so we exited, and we ended up in the neighborhood. And so when we got there, I was thinking to myself, I was feeling like, I was just feeling weird. You know, I feel like there was something there that within the atmosphere that I'm picking up on, that I can't put my finger on it. And then so I said, okay, now keep driving a little bit. So she went into the neighborhood where there's houses, and she just made a right and just kind of went around. I'm like, wait a minute, I know I'm supposed to be here for some reason. And I'm like, oh no, back up. She backed up, and there was a house there that has always been in my dreams. Right, there's a house there that's always been in my dreams. And not only that, there's I'll just go ahead and just share this with everybody. That, you know, not even just that, but I'll just say that there was a convenience store in the area that's also been in my dreams, in that same environment, you know, with the house. So there's a convenience store down the street from this house. Basically, that area has been in my dreams, and I had never been there before, but I knew how to get there.
Wow. That's crazy.
But I don't want to get too you know, TMI, because it's still it still holds close to me. I'm not really comfortable sharing all the details with it, but I'll just say in addition to that, I was a little boy at the time, you know, according to the dreams I've been having. And I guess I was living at that house or living around there, and some other stuff happened I really don't want to get into, but I'm thinking the bottom line is that, wow, I knew how, I knew, like, the area drew me there. I knew how to get there, and then now I'm right there in a place that's been in my dreams. And so I'm thinking that, okay, so basically I'm picking up on another life that I used to be this person over here.
Wow.
And then now I guess I'm kind of recalling that subconsciously. What do you think about that?
Yeah,
that sounds logical.
Yeah, that definitely sounds possible. I don't have anything like that, so I'm like you know, where I hear what people say, and you know, I don't really have any experiences of my own to, you know, everything I've heard I've been told by, you know, people that are connected and things like that. But I have had, you know, individual, or what I should say, independent people say the same thing, so it's not like they colluded or anything with connections with Egypt. And all of that came after I'd had, you know how you get those, they're called hypnagogic images, right, when you're falling asleep, and sometimes it's not really, you're not in a dream state, but you're conscious that you're falling asleep and you're getting these images, and typically you fall asleep right after that. But I got this really alarming image of being like buried alive in a sarcophagus, and this was 2017, and it was so alarming and brought back such horrible feelings that it like woke me up. Typically those images are right before you fall asleep, but that one actually turned into like this remembering of being like buried alive in one of these stone boxes. And then it wasn't until after that I'd heard about the Egyptian connection, and it kind of made me like, oh my gosh, I can see something like that, you know, getting branded into your memory, being so horrific that it does stick with you over lifetimes, maybe, you know?
Man.
Yeah, that's really the only thing.
Else that man, that's really weird that we can really pick up on it. That's why I always say, you know, don't give your power away. You know, don't give your power away to even like some type of faction or group or even a person. And, you know, I mean, and to say that they're the power. I mean, of course, you know, respect elders and, you know, respect authority and things like that. And it's funny, just, you know, as far as authority, you know, I look up the word Lord, and do you know what Lord means? I just want to ask you. I'm pretty sure you do.
It depends on, like, you know, if you're talking about as it appears in the Bible, it might be thought of a little differently. They translate like Yahweh and stuff as Lord, but yeah, Lord just means like I guess that's what a subordinate calls someone over him, an authority figure, I guess is how I would think of it. And it's very, very, I don't know, very just rudimentary definition.
Okay. Because I thought about it one day, and now because I say, okay, Lord, you know, Jesus is Lord. That's the quote right there. Okay, and what about landlord? Does it mean the same thing? Like, what does Lord mean? Right? Because I don't think the landlord is Jesus. Right. But I know that's a title.
Right.
And so I looked it up, and like you said, what you said actually kind of goes with it. But yeah, it's pretty much the same thing in a way. Like, so Lord means, as far as the dictionary is concerned, it means authority. Jesus is authority.
I like that.
So the land authority, I guess, right? Yeah.
Right, the authority of the land. But I think, you know, in a way, because that's where, you know, a lot of my Christian friends and I will, because we both believe that Jesus is the way, truth, and life, or light, depending on how you remember that one. But you can believe that as he's our example to follow, to do as he did, or in the terms of the way church will tell you that he's done it for you, and you're following him that way. Following is maybe, I'm not really sure how that goes, because it's not really his teaching, it's more Paul's teaching, that the mainstream line of thinking. Do you know what I mean? But so yeah, that to me, I think, this is my role model. This is my hero. This is the dude I follow. No disrespect. I'm just saying, that's he's our example to follow. He's what we should strive to be most like. That's kind of how I think of Jesus.
Right. Yeah. In addition to that, like I was saying, I always say, like, in reference to the powers that be, that's what we all have within us, right? So, like, tap into the powers that be within you. I made that up. It's all good. If anybody uses that, just send me $5. I can use that for a USB mic.
But that is it, isn't it? Because Jesus had authority because he took his authority, and he got his authority from basically the Father, like he said, because he wasn't doing his will. He was doing the will of the higher aspect of the divine that he was operating for, not for the ego man Jesus himself, but for a higher purpose. And he's even said that, I of myself can do nothing. It's the Father who sent me. That's where he gets his authority. So we all have that I am within us, and we can all walk in that authority that Jesus taught us to walk in, and within our own sovereignty, because I think he was the firstborn amongst many brethren, like Paul says. I think we're all supposed to come alive and do the things he did and greater, as he said,
Exactly. And like you said, man, Jesus. And in reference to that, I mentioned this on my channel. Matter of fact, did you see my recent stream with Cynthia Sue Larson?
I was driving. I got to catch some of that while I was driving. That was pretty cool, but I didn't see all of it yet. Okay.
Well, it's really nothing to see, in respect. It's all audio, but I appreciate you tapping into it.
Yeah, I love Cynthia.
But yeah, man, Jesus. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, in reference to man Jesus, like you were saying earlier, so do you think that man is entropy? Because when we call ourselves, or whoever calls themselves human, I look at that as two words as one. So I see the word man in there. Would you say that the word man is in reference to entropy? As far as like the Jesus part of us, the powers that's in us. Would the man part be relegated to, like, okay, that's entropy right there?
Right. I think
because HU. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I think having a multi-dimensional sort of perspective with this is helpful, because at one level, sure, it could look like, things are chaotic and disorderly. They can look like noise, but, anything can look like noise if you don't understand it. Noise can begin to make sense if you begin to understand what you're saying. So like the scientists saying that we have mainly junk DNA. Something tells me they probably just aren't understanding what they're saying, and it's not junk, Same thing with static or noise, audio or visual noise. It might just look like noise and randomness, but it might be decipherable under the right format or conditions, but it just appears to be. So I think, sure, you can see, we're putting on sort of this quote-unquote imperfect body on top of this divine being, but I think if you pull back far enough, you'll see that this is still all very much perfect, even though it doesn't seem like it when you're in the game,
Because it is a game, I guess, right? If it is a game, like you said, when we're in the game, so let's say it is a game, so it's not supposed to be perfect. Anyway, I guess, how can it be perfect if we're perceiving things from the surface rather than within us? I guess, if that makes any sense.
Well,
that makes sense.
I kind of see it like, everybody is familiar with Pac-Man or whatever. I see like Pac-Man, you're controlling Pac-Man, but Pac-Man doesn't realize that you're actually guiding him. He's oblivious. He's just feels like he's stuck in this maze, right? Just trying to eat these things without these demonic ghosts getting a hold of him and causing him any problems. So they're programmed to do a certain thing. One's programmed to try to ambush or cut them off. One's programmed to just chase them. The other one's programmed to do this. But they're all doing what they're programmed to do. They're not really angry at Pac-Man. He might perceive them as being angry. He might perceive life as just being this maze that he goes over and over and over through, but there's a higher perspective where you realize that, Pac-Man's actually died 1,000 times today while I've been playing it, right? And he doesn't realize he's died 1,000 times. It wasn't real from this perspective that he died 1,000 times, but it would have felt real when the ghost caught up with him from within the game. You follow what I'm saying? So I think it's just all about perspective. So it will feel very real if you don't feel like, if you just kind of feel like you're just thrown inside this maze and fending for yourself and there's no one looking out for you, yeah, it could be pretty daunting, but I don't think that's ever the case. I think it's all orchestrated to appear to be lonely and deserted and, chaotic and all that. We did a good job. Okay, so,
right. So, yeah, so with that said, because I made it to a certain point in my life, everything wasn't, quote unquote perfect. And I think some people could attest to that in their own life. Like you were just saying, but I'm here now, but I've been through some things and, here and there go through things, just as I guess any ordinary, quote unquote, real person does. Do you think that we have attachments that are attached to us or, let's say spiritual beings that follow us? Like you said, sometimes it could seem like it's desolate and lonely. Do you think that we may have guides around us that are spiritual?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I feel like we definitely have spiritual help from, if you want to say ascendant masters, or like Jesus would fall into that class for me, and very much feel his presence around. The Holy Spirit, I think, it's an agency more than it is an individual person, in that you can request help and you don't have to know exactly, who to call on. It's more about the intention, if you really request out of love, out of the real honest need, you'll get it. It'll come from the right place. Now, of course, if you're like saying, well, I wish this person would die and stuff, then that intention might send it to somewhere else. You know what I mean? I don't think God answers requests like that, the destructive kind or whatever. So I think it doesn't really matter the name as much as it does the intention behind it. But I feel like everyone has help available to them. It's just kind of like Ronnie's saying, you have to, she feels like the world has to be imperfect to have the free will. But I feel like, and that's true at that level of the game, but Ronnie's one that doesn't feel like, you were mentioning earlier that, people feel like they chose to come here. Ronnie doesn't feel like she feels like she was sitting here against their will and remembers that. I don't remember, so I can't really chime in 100%. But the way I can see everything to a point now where I'm like, wow, this seems like, yeah, I definitely feel like I would have volunteered for this. I don't know.
Okay. So you feel that, and I guess like we were saying earlier, to go back to that real quick, the regressions, I guess, as far as where we were at before we got here, we were actually somewhere spiritually making decisions, or was presented some choices that we made. Is that what actually happened?
That's what some of the reports come through are. One really good book that I would recommend is Dolores Cannon's book, Keepers of the Garden, because in that book she talks about, how like sometimes people get regressed and it's like one person says they were Joan of Arc and then this other person says they were Joan of Arc, and it's like, well, which one of them's lying, which one of them is it? And it's like, it's not really like that. It's like there's files for lives and people get all these lives preloaded on them. They're like, I think they call them imprints in the book. But it just helps them cope with life on Earth to have these previous lives. So it wouldn't be strange for you to come across 3 people that think they were Benjamin Franklin or something like that. You know what I mean? It's typically just average Joe lives, but that possibility is there that you might come across 10 people that were the same person and you can't tell which one was the original because they were all imprinted as if they were the one. But that's in the Keepers of the Garden book. So that's one pretty cool perspective that I found interesting in that book by Dolores Cannon. It's pretty cool.
Right. Okay, cool. I wasn't familiar with that book. But I did mention Dolores Cannon to someone, and they said, well, pretty much they don't really they've heard of her, but they don't really listen to her what she has to say about a lot of things that she said, because they feel that maybe something else could be speaking through people, like even when you have like regressions and things. How do we know that? How do we know that it's exact in fact, or it's all fact? Exactly the way the person's describing it, and it's not like somebody or something else coming through deceiving.
That's a good question. Yeah, because I think there's probably more of a danger with a person's own biases and filters stepping into the equation. But yeah, how do we know it's not like? Well, with Dolores, there's two different things I would say to that. One, anytime you get information, is it based in love or fear? What's the fruit of the message? That's, I think, right off the bat, discernment. You can just do the whole love-fear test, because everything's either rooted in love or fear, compassion or anger. That's, they're just polar opposites. So anytime you get information, I would say look at that. But with Dolores Cannon, what was really cool is she might have a session with somebody in Europe and then come back to the States a week or two later, and she begins to talk to this person's over soul or higher self or whatever, and she gets to a point where she's continuing her conversation with the same higher, what they call the super consciousness, that she did with someone around the world that didn't know the next client. So the question remains, whoever it is that's coming through sometimes is able to come through anybody. So, I mean, I guess that doesn't say it's positive or negative, but to have that sort of power, I mean, it's pretty impressive anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard a lot of what she had to say about a lot of things, and it's sort of believable. I can't say for sure about things because I haven't experienced it myself. But when she's saying that we're bouncing from reality, we're bouncing in and out of different realities every second or every half second or something like that. I'm still trying to understand that. I'm still trying to understand how can I not be aware of any of that. And I do understand that I'm coming from like I was saying earlier, an entropy perspective, to where I'm only perceiving things a certain way. So we're bouncing in and out of different realities every second is what she's saying, from what I remember. So that means that there's going to be different changes that we may not even pick up on right away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's constantly in flux. So, and I think that's what the Mandela effect's showing us. For any of us that's looked at it a while, and you start seeing stuff flip-flopping, and you realize that, oh my gosh, everything's changing. Letters are extending and merging, and logos are looking different all the time, and it's just like, you can't even take a picture of it because your picture changes and updates, and it's like, man, this is just... I was going by Family... I'll ask you guys, Family Dollar, do you guys know how they've got Family Dollar, just the words on the sign, but in front of the store, they'll have like this little round logo that's got these little peg people in there. Do you guys remember how many peg people there used to be on there? I forgot, I just noticed this one. I haven't done a video on it or anything, but let's see, Family Dollar.
What's the place called again?
It's called Family Dollar. Are you familiar with that convenience store?
Oh, Family Dollar? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so it's got the little round logo, and it's got these little peg people in it. Do you just recall from memory how many peg people there were?
Oh, what? So I'm looking at it right now online. Me personally, I never seen this logo ever in my life.
Oh, with the little people on it?
I never seen the logo at all before.
Oh.
I mean, is this a dollar store?
No, this is Family Dollar.
This is
yeah, Family Dollar.
Oh, this is not a dollar store. Okay,
No.
so I probably I'm not. We don't have this. We don't have this in my area.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's Family Dollar. Anyway, it's got the little peg people on it. I remember there being 3, but now there's 4. And I'm like, 4 peg people? No way. And there's like this little baby there now that I just know it wasn't there, but I can't prove it to anybody, and it's like, You know, it's just all I can do is laugh. I look at it and I laugh, and you know, and the letters were already merging. They're all pretty much gobbling each other up. They used to be spaced out, and now they're clearly overlapping so much. You know, and it's just wild to see it slowly overtaken, getting squashed, and nobody notices, and then people get at it. You know, it's just funny.
Man, yeah, I never seen a store before. I thought it was a Dollar Tree. That's what I was getting
Dollar
confused with.
Tree,
Dollar Tree.
Yeah, we got those too.
Okay. Well, I did notice the somebody says, let's see.
Yeah, they were saying three. Yeah, so it's actually 4 now.
3.
Yeah, there's 4 peg people on there now. Yeah, Ready Whip. That's a crazy one too. What was your biggest one? I forgot. You mentioned it last time, didn't you?
My biggest effect?
Mandela effect, yeah.
The biggest one will be the ones that are more personal to me that I know for sure it wasn't that way before.
Yeah.
I know for sure. And that would be the heavens, and that would be what is it? The heavens.
The Lion and the Lamb.
Because with the heavens one I wrote with the what was that now?
I was asking if the Lion and the Lamb was the other one. I was trying to remember. But the heaven, you're talking about the first verse of the Bible, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's my other one? So yeah, a lot of people said 3. I'm not familiar with that story. Okay, that's cool that they see it like you've seen it. I'm just reading the chat. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, because it was like a family. It was like a mom, dad, and a little kid, you know. But now it's like a mom, dad, a little kid, and a little baby now. And it's like, what? That's so cool.
Okay. Speaking of logos, Miranda Anderson right there in the chat says, Shane, your logo still looks wrong to me without the yellow.
Yeah.
It had yellow?
So my logo, this is a trip if you guys haven't heard the story. So when I was creating my logo to begin with, inside Photoshop, I added an and sign in between the unbiased and the on the fence line and it kind of overlapped on top of the letters. I thought it looked a little too busy and gaudy. I never even exported an image of it. I just hid that layer or deleted it or whatever and went without it. So then a while later, people were like, hey, what happened to that yellow? Or, you know, it's sort of like that athletic, almost school bus yellow, you know, and sign on your logo. And I'm like, I never had any and sign on my logo. And then other people are like, yeah, I remember that. I'm like, this is so crazy because I actually thought about putting one right where you guys say there was one, but I never put it there. I never exported it. I didn't like it. I just didn't go with it. But evidently people remember some timeline where I just went with it. It's just wild.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And nobody knows. I mean, I didn't even show
quick,
anybody in my family or anything because I was like, I don't like it. It wasn't even like a big deal until people started remembering it. And I'm like, what?
Oh, wait a minute. I think, yes, I get it. I think I do remember an and right there.
Right in the middle? Yeah.
I'm looking at the logo.
Isn't that crazy?
Because, okay, well, maybe it's me because your channel's called, you know, it has the and in it. You know what I mean? So the logo doesn't have the and in it. So it says unbiased on the fence.
Right.
So you're on, okay, unbiased and on the fence. And so you're on the fence and you're unbiased. Cool. Yeah. It means pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. Well, it's really
Without
more, it was, you know, kind of like my original thing was just kind of creating a place for open-minded people to come together and not really try to push their own agenda and turn it into sort of a debate, but really just kind of appreciate other people's views and really trying to expand your consciousness by seeing things the way other people see them instead of thinking about how you can convince them to see it your way. You know what I mean? So it was like really more of an exploration of other viewpoints rather than a place to debate. So it's just creating a safe space for people to share their points of view without ridicule or anything like that. That was sort of the initial thing. And it has just grown into, you know, just this, even now when you see all this stuff and it's so easy to get pulled into any of the stuff going on, but it's so much better to just observe and, keep that as the theater out there, that you don't have to get pulled into that. You've got your own little sphere of influence, people that need you and love you, that's right around you that you can affect. And a lot of times we let things outside of the bubble, take our attention away from doing things within our bubble,
Exactly. I do agree and concur with that. It both means the same thing. Like, I had to throw both those words at you because I really live by that. I really do. Me personally, it goes back to, I guess it's cliche from my realm of perspective. I've heard a couple of people say this, but I stopped watching TV a long time ago, and I'm not saying everything on TV is bad. I mean, I've had some favorite shows like Knight Rider and
Oh yeah, one of my favorite. Yeah.
What's happening now? Have you seen What's Happening Now before?
Oh yeah, with Raj and all that, or is that something different?
Man, I'll be sitting there with my Rice Krispies with the correct spelling on it, and I'll just be I'll be just chilling, just watching these programs. So I mean, I understand, but we also have to watch what we watch and not listen to everything that we hear. Wow, that was crazy. All right, so if anybody uses that, just send me $5. Hey, I'm a lyricist, so hey, what I mean? I don't do any freestyles, if you know what I mean.
Right.
I'm just joking around.
You believe it? I think a lot of those guys that can do that really well are like channeling, because they just flow so well. It's just so amazing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I did something like that on my I have it on my channel. It's called what is it called? Well, if you go to my channel through my website, it's labeled there, and it says it's a freestyle. It's in parentheses, it says freestyle rap. But I did something like that. It was just off the cuff, and it turns out that people liked it. I just decided to upload it, and check me out. If you don't mind, do you mind me mentioning my website?
No, please do.
Okay, yeah, propagatelight.blogspot.com. And to get to my channel, just click the YouTube link, and then you'll see it there. You see everything there. And hopefully you like what you hear. And like you said earlier, I'm just establishing a place for me to be able to broadcast some of my, questions and reach out to other people. And, try to get some more ideas, some more information to work with. Because with the ME and the other phenomenon that happened in my life, like I said before, previously I'm getting all tongue tied. I'm sorry about that. Last time I spoke to you, I told you I was clairvoyant. So I'm just trying to understand myself spiritually and my own spiritual abilities, and and hopefully we can come to a certain line in the sand to where we have these abilities, and quite possibly we could be the ones making things change by bouncing into different realities. Who knows? But hopefully we'll come close to what maybe all this is all about, and we could manifest our heaven on earth.
Absolutely.
That was. I think that was kind of poetic.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
It was beautiful, man, and that's really what we're trying to do here. Change the world, and I think once we're doing it with what's around us and realizing how much power we actually have, and I want to tell anybody that's listening, all the answers you seek are within. What I typically do is just the time for meditation and contemplation, daydreaming, this sort of thing, and just let your mind let whatever comes to you, and just sort of observe that. And then what you'll notice is other people will say things and they're getting the same thing. You're like, oh, okay, well, they're getting what I'm getting. It's cool. This is all, whatever it is that you resonate with. So I think the answers are within, and then the external world will sort of confirm what you're getting from within, from other people that are getting it too. And that's sort of been my experience. But I would tell anybody, go within. That's where the answers are.
Man, and that's kind of crazy when those things happen, right?
Yeah,
it's like when you put out and it comes back to you, and you could have the choice of to put out, negativity or positivity. And I tell people, don't get fake happiness confused with positivity. When somebody says just be positive, don't confuse that with I gotta be fake happy to like fake it to make it. It's nothing like that. It's like if when things happen, and I'm still working on me too, when it comes to this, but I'm a lot closer to where I want to be at than where I was, some years ago. But when you get to a point to where when you lose your train of thought, like I just did, you try to find something else to say. But what I will tell people is just like you said, tap into the power that be within yourself, and export that positivity if you want positivity out of your life. If you put out negativity, I mean, how can we not expect that back, right?
Right.
And you make the seed in your environment as well.
Yeah.
And so I definitely, again, concur with what you're saying, because that's been my experience. And, like you said, with current events going on and stuff like that, it could be a test. It could be a test. I mean, when it comes down to it, in my opinion, and I won't be too long, in my opinion, keep your emotions in check, because if you believe that there could be other things that could be, benefiting from your energy, then make sure you keep your emotions in check, because maybe that right there is part of what you're feeding. You're feeding what you don't want to feed, right? And then you start seeing negativity in your world even more. If you don't want that, in my opinion, just focus on positivity. Even with the current events, I know I'm doing a U-turn here, but keep in mind, in my opinion, some superpowers wear a mask. So the whole question is, are you going to be a villain or are you going to be a hero?
And that kind of comes back to, when I was talking about discernment earlier, doing something out of love or out of fear. And that's a perfect example with a mask, because sometimes I'll go in a little mom and pop shop. They're, I don't really fall for the mask thing myself, but, I might slap one on because they feel a little nervous about it to go into their store or whatever. Or if it's the bigger stores, they typically have been briefed, so I won't wear one there. But yeah, I just wear it out of love if I need to, right? But it's never out of fear. It's not like I better wear this, or I might contract something or spread something, or so it's just intentions behind it.
Okay, exactly. Well, I'll get on out of here, but to those that be saying, hey, yo, because somebody has told me, or I've also heard people say, and I'll say this before I get out of here, hey, tomorrow's not promised. I understand, but I also heard that promises are made to be broken, so maybe it just doesn't even matter. I don't know.
That's a good point. Hey, do me a favor. They were asking about your web address. So as I'm doing the outro, if you can put your actual web address in there. Did you say it was propagatelight or .blogspot.com? Or can you just type it in the chat? That way anybody later on that. Let's see.
Yeah, when I type it in, the link won't go through because I don't have a wrench here.
Oh, you don't? I thought you did.
No.
There you
let
go.
me see.
There you
okay.
go. I just added one, so if it wasn't there, it would be there.
Oh, right on. I am a handyman. Let's see here. All right, so we are typing, me, myself, and I, propagate lights. And thank you, Miranda. I seen you. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. And there we are. There. Boom.
Bam, it came up.
Propagate light.
Blogspot.com. Perfect, man. And you said there's links back to your YouTube page, too, right?
Yeah, so people won't be confused. I mean, I did put some subtext there so somebody, people will know what's going on, whoever logs on. But I do music podcasts and I do video production, so that will be the page you will find it on. But at the top of the page, you'll see YouTube. You just click that, and you'll get my channel index. Boom, boom, like that.
Awesome. Perfect, man. All right, man. Well, okay, I do appreciate you calling in.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. And like I said before, whenever you're free, get some time, or whenever you want, my channel is open arms to you to do a stream with you. In the future, if whenever you're interested.
All right, I appreciate that, buddy.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the talk, and thank you for everybody in the chat being interested in where I'm at.
Oh, no
All
problem.
right, rock steady.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Peace.
Peace. Let's see here. All right, you guys. Oh, man, I saw somebody just hopped in the queue. I've got to wrap this up. So sorry I missed you. Maybe next week I will be back for sure. So lots of love, light, and unity to each and every one of you. We'll see you in the next one. Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.